Hi, welcome to NoodlKnits. This is episode 3 of the NoodlKnits podcast. I'm Z, also known as NoodlKnits on Ravelry and Instagram. And show notes for this episode and other episodes can be found at noodleknits.wordpress.com. That's noodle, no E, all one word. Today is January 3rd. And as you can see, we're in a new place. I'm in Oklahoma City visiting my parents. As I said last week, I wasn't sure if I was going to film a podcast or not, but I've been watching all of the podcasters that I watch, and I've been really wanting to go ahead and film one. So I guess I will just kind of talk about that personal stuff later and jump right into the knitting stuff. I do not have any finished objects this week. It's just been kind of a busy weekend and week, so I don't have anything actually completely finished, but I do have one half object and one work in progress. So I guess we'll just start with my half object. I've got one unblocked, unwashed, whatever, Hermione Everyday sock. This is the pattern, and I've just done, just the regular Hermione Everyday. I actually followed the four row pattern increase, or pattern repeat, sorry. And then I just did a fish lips kiss heel. This is my first ever fish lips kiss heel, and I love it. I will probably never do a heel flopping gusset heel ever again, because I just love the way this fits and how easy it was, and just the fit is amazing. And then just regular toe decreases and Kitchener stitch to close. I made my toe kind of square this time because my toes are kind of weird, and my second toe is longer than my first toe, so both of my big toe and my second toe fit perfectly within this square. So I wanted to try doing a more square toe this time to see if that would fit better, which this sock fits like a glove, if you can say that about socks. So I did a cast on 60, which I think the pattern says to cast on 64, but I cast on 60 and it fits perfect. I did 1x1 rib for 2 inches, and then I'm not sure how long I didn't do a really very long cuff, so I'm not sure how long that is. And then just an inch before my heel I did regular stockinette, and then I did my heel, and then it's just regular stockinette all the way across the bottom, so you can see the divide between the instep and the foot, and it fits wonderfully. And the thing that's awful is I have very long toes, so I kind of am terrible about figuring out when I'm supposed to start my toe decreases. So I actually had finished the sock and then had to rip back because it was too small and start again, and I think it took me a couple of tries before I got the toes to where I liked it. And so that was a little difficult, but okay, so that's my one half object, and I have not started the second sock yet because I wanted to just kind of take a little break from that and do something really easy. So my one whip right now is I'm working on a second garter ear flap hat from Pearl Soho. So I've already got, I'm already on the decreases for the top of the hat. And I've got my pretty little stitch markers from, I think it's Spindle Cat or something like that. That's actually like the one thing I didn't write down in my show notes. And they came with a little yarn ball that kind of looks like it's made out of brass. But that one's in the kitchen because I found it in the kitchen this morning that fell off of my knitting. And that is worked on Knit Picks Bravo, just like the other one, trying to use up that yarn. So that is all I've got off and on the needles, and I'll start the second sock this week. I do have some new smooshy goodness, it's not very much. Okay, sorry, my dad walked in with groceries and he was being loud. So on my way to Oklahoma, like I said, we made a stop. I was driving with my sister-in-law, so we stopped in Dallas-Fort Worth, and from there I was to catch a train. So we stayed with my grandparents, and they live really, really close to a yarn shop called the Knitting Fairy. I mean, really, really close. Sorry. If you can hear that, you probably can hear it very clearly. But it's like less than a 5-minute drive from their house is the Knitting Fairy store. So they were having a sale, so we went in there to look around. And I guess nothing really. I wanted to go in specifically and try and find some contrast color yarn to do a contrast heel and toe for this yarn, which is the Knit Picks Felicie in the Time Traveler colorway. And I just decided I didn't want to do a striped heel and toe on these socks, which is what I'm going to do after I finish my Hermione socks. So I went in there and I was really hoping to find something to use as a contrast color here, which I didn't. So nothing else really stood out. Something in their sale section kind of did, but I decided not to get it because the only thing I would have used it for was probably a shawl. And the shawl I really want to do right now, I'd rather use a solid color. So I didn't really get anything from their sale, but they did have a little bowl of hand-dyed mini skeins. And I think they had the hand dyer written on their little sign, but I didn't write it down, and I don't remember who it was, and I don't even remember what these are made out of, what fiber these are. But I went ahead and got 2 little mini skeins. They don't have tags or anything, and this one's like a yellowy variegated kind of golden with some darker browns mixed in, and then this one is just a really deep purple. I don't know, the camera's pretty much doing it justice. I mean, it's dark. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it to focus any better than that. But it's got a little bit of like, looks like black in it, but for the most part it's just a very, very, very dark purple. And I got those 2 because, like I said last week, I think, is I'm wanting to start a cozy memory blanket out of sock yarn. And these are fingering weight. So I figured I'll go ahead and get those and might be able to work them into my blanket. I wish I had written down who had dyed them and stuff, but you know, traveler's brain. So that's all of my smooshy goodness section. And that was, like I said, that was at the Knitting Fairy store. This is their little thing that they put in my thing, and this is their name and then their address and phone number. If you live in the DFW area, go ahead and go there. It's a small shop, but they have some good stuff. And really cool, they gave us a free pattern for some baby mittens, which I might try those because those are actually in fingering weight and they use a US 2. I might try that pattern. Now, that was really all I had for all of that. I'm thinking about, while I'm going to a yarn store. Here I probably will go to it just because I feel like I really ought to buy yarn while I'm here and can go to a yarn store. There's not really any yarn stores right near where I live. And so I'm planning on going to a little yarn shop here that is called the Gourmet Yarn Company. And it's fairly close to where my dad lives. And so I'm planning on going there while I'm here. And then I'll have maybe some smooshy goodness next week. Some better stuff. But I'm also thinking about maybe going to a fabric shop and seeing what I can find for making myself a project bag or something. I haven't really decided on that. I guess I'd like to talk about things that I kind of would like to make. Things that other people have been making or I've seen and I love. And there's a lot. I mean, my Ravelry queue right now is just full up of things that other people have been making that are gorgeous. Like the water lily top and the Mama Ruffle shawl. Just different things. Right now in my queue is something that came in my email from Pearl Soho as the over the top top, and I'd like to make that. We'll see. But right now what I'm really wanting to make is the Bloom shawl by Melody of Mandarins. It's very gorgeous, and the lace part is, you know, supposed to look like flowers, and it's just really gorgeous, and I think I would like to do it in a solid colorway. And I don't know when I'll be able to do that, but I would really like to. And I haven't done any shawls yet, and so I'd like for that one to be my first. And the other thing that I'm really wanting to make right now, or I've been kind of wanting to make it for a while, I just haven't, is the Rodeo Drive poncho by Stacey Perry from Very Pink Knits. It's I guess she did hers in Knit Picks Capra, so that's pretty affordable yarn. I might be able to do that soon. But it is, I mean, it's very gorgeous, and it's just a poncho, and then it's got one, you know, braided cable all the way down the front, the middle front of the poncho. And then it's just, it looks like it's just got garter ribbing, or garter stitch edging around the neckline and the bottom of the poncho. And it's gorgeous. And my husband kind of makes fun of me because I really loved ponchos when I was younger, like in middle school. I just loved them. I had a couple of different ones. And my parents had actually, for my birthday one year, gotten me a poncho with a hood on it. And it was like a navy with white stripes. And my husband kind of thinks that's hilarious and makes fun of me for that. But I guess I still kind of have that love of ponchos since I'm wanting to knit one now. But we'll see how that goes. And I kind of want to do that one in like a terracotta or like a deep rust color. I think it would look really good. I would try and show you the picture, but I think that you'll just get the reflection from my window on my iPad, because I haven't printed it or anything. But that one is gorgeous, and I'd like to make it. And then the other thing I talked about last week really wanting to make is the Cozy Memories blanket from Sock Yarn. And I do plan on doing that. I really do. I have some sock scraps, and I'm definitely going to be making one of those. I just would like to get a set of 1 or 1.5 circulars to have to do it on. I could probably do it on straight needles. Even then I would have to get a 1 or 1.5 straight needle, because I'd like to use a small needle for that. And a lot of people have been making those Rose City roller socks, and now I really love those, and I would really like to make them. So we'll see if I do that, or when I do it, or what. I think that's kind of all for, yeah, that's it for plans. And I've got notes, so I'm not doing a whole lot of rambling. I've kind of left my rambling to the end, so that if you don't want to hear it, you can just turn it off and be done. So I'd like to, in the beginning I said that I wasn't sure I was going to podcast this week, and then I had been watching a lot of podcasts, and now I just really wanted to go ahead and film one. So I guess I kind of would like to talk about the ones that I have been watching, which is a lot. I've become very addicted to knitting podcasts, and I've been watching a lot of them. And some of the ones I've been watching are Stitched in Sweden with Maria Monska. She's so precious and sweet, and she is a knitwear designer, and I actually want to make one of her shawls. I haven't decided. She's got the Swedish spring shawl and the lattice, I think, shawl. It's just called the lattice shawl, and they're both gorgeous with like lace edging, and I'd really like to make one of those, maybe just later, a little more advanced. And then my first podcast I've been talking about, I've been watching Homespun House in Vollenbein, so added to those is a Stitched in Sweden, and then I've just started watching the Bee Mandarins podcast with Melody, and she's French, and so I just love hearing her talk in her French accent. And I've only watched 1 or 2 episodes, so I haven't got a great idea of her yet, but I do love her podcast. It's very beautiful, and like I said, I want to make her one of her shawl patterns. I've been watching the Junk Yarn podcast with Kemper. She's fun. She's got a very fun personality, and it's fun to watch her. And then I've been watching the Knitting Expat, which, if you're not really into like long podcasts, maybe not with her, it kind of takes me a little while to get through one of her podcasts, just because I do have a lot going on, it seems, and I have to pause a lot and listen to someone talk or deal with a toddler. But she is very interesting, and she's a very, very fast knitter. So at just about every podcast she has finished something or multiple somethings. So she has finished objects to show off. But she's a very fast knitter. And so that's the Knitting Expat. She is from London, living in Bahrain, hence expat. So, but she's very interesting to listen to, and she just does a really good job, I think. And it's fun because she's been traveling a lot, so you kind of get to follow her around on her travels and get to see her podcast from different places. It's kind of fun. And then the last one that I think is new to me is Little Bobbins. Danny from Little Bobbins podcast. I love her. She's also very sweet and cute. And then she has her little puppy on sometimes. So those are the podcasts that I've been listening to. I also listen to Love Sock Wool, and I'm always up for new ones. So if you have any suggestions, send them my way. And I think that's it for yarn and knitting. Like I said, very short podcast this week. I didn't really have much to show off, and all of the stuff that I do have to talk about is like personal stuff, so I kind of wanted to hold it off till the end so that if there was somebody who really didn't care to hear it, you can leave. That's fine, I understand. Sometimes you're just in it for the knitting. And I have been knitting a lot. I've been knitting a lot considering what's going on, but I have been quite busy doing other things. So if you're not interested in the personal stuff, I'll see you next week. Have a good week. This week in my life, like I said, I'm in Oklahoma City, which was kind of an ordeal because I was packing at the end of last week. So I ended up posting a podcast and then kind of just spent the rest of the week cleaning and cooking, because we don't buy bread. We buy gluten-free bread for my son, but the bread that me and my husband eat, we don't buy bread. I make bread. I make sandwich bread and I make breakfast bread. And so last week I was spent, after I posted the last podcast, I was just doing a lot of cleaning and laundry, a lot of laundry, trying to get everybody's laundry done. And my husband kind of keeps his laundry in like a separate pile, so I always have to like go like searching for laundry. But I was also really just trying to make sure that my son and I had a whole batch of clean clothes to bring with us. And I was doing that and then baking bread. I feel like I baked bread just about every day last week because I had baked bread at the beginning of the week for us to eat, sandwich bread, and then I ended up having to bake a second loaf of sandwich bread for my husband for while I'm gone, and then I baked a cinnamon bread roll, or I baked a cinnamon loaf that's our breakfast bread that we eat for toast and stuff. It just tastes like cinnamon toast. And then I was just packing, making sure I've got everything, and I get really bad traveler's anxiety, so my stomach was in knots, and so I ended up having to take a nap and try to take it easy, but I was also really stressed out that I was going to forget something. And then on Friday morning we got up at 3:15 in the morning, and my sister-in-law came and picked us up because we had to drop off my brother-in-law at drill, and so we had to get there at like 6:30, which we ended up getting there early, and then head on to DFW, and we made it to DFW around 11 because we ended up stopping to have breakfast. And it was just a whole ordeal, and then went to bed late, woke up early the next morning, and it was just, I mean, crazy, because they had, I thought my phone was on silent. They had the cousins there, and they're kind of loud and rowdy. They're boys and they're young, so it was just very busy and crazy, and I don't know, it was fun though, and we were only there for one night, and then, like I said, on Saturday, my sister-in-law left for Austin to visit her family, and I stayed because I was going to be getting a bus or a train. I was supposed to be taking a train, but since it's been raining so much, they switched me to a bus, and it was in the evening, early evening, like around 5:30, so I hung out with my grandmother that day, and we kind of just went shopping. And then she took me to the bus station, which I was really anxious about taking the bus because I've never taken a bus before, but it turned out to be a very nice experience. It was interesting and fun, and the lady who sat in the seat in front of us was very nice, and I had a good chat with her, and my son was actually really good on the train, and the bus, and he was just playing in the windowsill. I put him in the window seat, and they had a really big window, and so he was playing in the windowsill and driving his little monster truck all over the window, and just talking about making up little games and talking about what was outside, and he had a lot of fun with it. And then we went over the Red River, and it was so flooded. I didn't get a very good picture. I'm hoping that maybe I'll be able to get a good picture coming back, but it hasn't been raining a whole lot since we've been here, so I'm kind of hoping maybe the flooding would have gone down a little bit. But it was really flooded. It was way more full than I've ever seen it, and I've made this trip so many times, and it was just shocking. And that's just because it's been raining so much in Oklahoma and Texas. Just so much it's been raining. And I want to say probably more so in Texas, but that's just because I've heard more about the Texas flooding than I have about the Oklahoma flooding. But it's just insane, the amount of rain they've been getting. But thankfully, since I've been here, it's been nice and sunny and warm, and there hasn't been any rain, which is, that's really nice that we've been able to have some outside time and some swimming time, and probably go swimming this evening. But that was just a lot of traveling stuff, and then we'd get here, late Saturday night, like around 9:30, and we went to bed late. And then, woke up. We went to like the late service at church, so or the late mass, and so we didn't have to wake up early, but went to bed kind of late again on Sunday because we had dinner at my grandparents, and finally, like on Monday night, my son got to bed a little bit on time, but he had taken a nap. He had really, really needed a nap just because he's really out of sorts from all the traveling. So he needed a nap that day, and taking a nap always like puts him off for bedtime. So that was rough. But then last night he actually ended up going to bed at a decent time and sleeping well. He just had to cry himself to sleep a little bit because he's still just kind of out of sorts from being in the new place, and he just keeps wanting to play and play and play, and so he keeps wanting to get up and talk to me and have me go in there and talk to him, and I ended up just having to let him figure it out on his own and go to sleep. And he didn't cry for very long because he's exhausted, but that was kind of a pain. But I'm hoping tonight he'll be a little bit better now that he knows that when it's bedtime, just like at home. So that's just all of the traveling craziness, and I just haven't really got a whole lot of knitting done because of all of that. Because, I have gotten some done. Like I said, I finished my sock, and I am able to find knitting time, but just like at the end of last week, I didn't knit at all, except for maybe an hour one day, because just constant cleaning and packing. And then I got a little bit of knitting done on the traveling, just not much, because I was dealing with kids and stuff, and then being here, I've gotten some knitting done, but it's just, I feel like we've already been here a week and we've only been here a couple of days, just because I have a lot of siblings and they're pretty young, and so it's just constant. There's a lot going on all day, and even if they're just kind of sitting around being lazy, my son is going crazy because it's a lot of new toys and there's a lot of people around, and he's just bouncing off the walls. So it's not terrible, it's just kind of exhausting, and I'm also still tired from the traveling, so I'm still trying to get on track. So in other news, I'm sure you're sick of hearing me talk about my traveling now. My friend Victoria, she's a makeup artist in Louisiana. She actually did my wedding makeup, and I love her for it. She did a wonderful job. She's a makeup artist and then just an artist. I mean, she's just wonderful at everything that she puts her mind to. She has helped me kind of design a label, or not a label, a logo, and I'll see if I can kind of show you that. I may have to do it kind of awkward. But she has helped me design a logo. She's really good at putting my thoughts on paper. And it says NoodlKnits, and I wanted, and the, you know, logo is in steam, and then it's a bowl of it to look like noodles, which is my idea, and I couldn't figure out how to put it on paper, and she did a wonderful job of putting it on paper for me. And that is just her sketch so far, her hand sketch, and she's wanting to, you know, put it up and do it on Illustrator, and just her computer's broken, so she hasn't done that yet. Excuse me. But I love it as is. I've already made it my Ravelry icon, and I really love it. Excuse me. And I'm thinking about, I was kind of wanting to start maybe a Ravelry group, but I don't know if maybe I should wait until I actually have more people that would join it, or wait until she's got the logo completely done so that I can have a banner where it's the logo and then it says NoodlKnits off to the side instead of above, or what. I haven't quite decided yet. If maybe I won't ever have, I don't know. I like the idea of having a Ravelry group, so I will eventually do one. I just haven't yet. There's a bird outside my window. But I don't know. Maybe I'll do it this week, just out of boredom. We'll see. But so far, I just keep thinking about it, and it's just an idea I've been kind of toying with and haven't done yet. So who knows? I think, last week my husband watched the he actually watches other podcasts, even if he doesn't hear about the knitting. He's very good about watching them for me, and he told me that from a viewer standpoint, if you don't know me, it looks like I'm picking my nose a lot, and partly, like today, the side of my nose is quite itchy. But he said that whenever I do, I'm messing with my nose ring, and I should go ahead and tell y'all that I do have a nose ring, and that if my nose gets a tickle, or if I'm messing with it, that y'all should know that I'm probably, my nose ring is bothering me for some reason. So, I don't know, that's kind of awkward. I thought it was kind of obvious, but he said that if you don't know that it's there, it's not very obvious. So he said I should go ahead and do a PSA. I have a nose ring, and I'm sorry for him being so extremely loud. And I'm sorry, public place, and I'm just trying to get in a podcast this week, and that's really all I've got. I'm very sorry. That was very loud. I just don't have much to talk about this week, but I did want to go ahead and get one in because I've just been sitting around all week, and I feel like I don't really have anything going on, and I really wanted to do something, and I've been watching all these podcasts, so I wanted to go ahead and do a podcast and put one out, even if it's short. So that's really all I've got going on this week. And maybe next week, hopefully I'll do one next week. I'll still be here, but I might do it in a room where I can close the door and not have the 2-year-old being loud. So, but that's all I've got this week, and maybe next week I'll have more. I'll have 2 finished projects. I should have this hat finished and then the pair of socks finished and then be working on a new pair of socks. Hopefully. It just depends on when I go to the yarn shop and if I'm able to make it between now and next podcast. I should also have some smooshy goodness to show. Hopefully. We'll see. Thanks for tuning in, and I really appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week.